Just remember where you started.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm starting OBS now. All right, and so housekeeping. I already kind of started with the introduction. Um, my name is Nelson. You can call me Nelson. You can call me Nell. You can call me Mr. DM. You can call me, hey, that guy that looks like the dad from Apple Pie or American Pie or whatever that movie was. Um, Eugene Levy. I get called that a lot. Um, I don't care. I'll answer to a whole lot of stuff. Been playing D&D for many years. Um, been playing Shadow of the Demon Lord ever since it came out. I was one of the original Kickstarting contributors, and like I said on my Google Plus note, it was damn best Kickstarter ever participated in. Love this game. If I had my druthers, this would be the only game I run, but unfortunately, my home group is they've always been D&D. They're kind of stuck on that, and
They don't want
um,
to change.
they don't. Well, they tried Shadow the Demon Lord. I forced them, and they thought it was okay, but it was just weird enough so that it kind of scared them a little bit. So they wanted to go back to D&D. So that's fine. I'll pull it out again here in a year or so and spring it on them again.
Try again.
But yeah, but as long as I have a fallback, which is you guys, I'll get my Shadow the Demon Lord fix in.
Hmm.
Excellent.
All right, so this campaign is called the Aetherscape, and it is going to be. It's not going to be your run-of-the-mill Shadow the Demon Lord campaign or even a fantasy RPG campaign. Most of it is not even going to be set on planet Earth. It's going to be set off-world, and if all goes as planned, you're going to be basically planet hopping in order to accomplish the things you need to accomplish. So if you even make it to Earth, I'll be kind of surprised, but we'll see if that pops up at some point in the story.
All right.
Um, I have lots of different inspirations for this campaign. Most of it is from space horror, like Aliens, and anybody see the movie Event Horizon?
Yes.
Love that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I love space horror. So I don't intend for this to be a science fiction game by any means. It's still going to be a fantasy game. It's just going to be set in kind of a pseudo space, not really even outer space like we know it. It's just going to be, it's going to be fantasy outer space. So I'm going to try to interject as much horror into it as possible, but if we get a little comedy in there as well, then more power to us.
Well,
So
there is comedy in horror movies.
comedy horrors, like The Evil Dead, that's another
Oh,
another
yeah.
inspiration.
Good to know.
Um, all right, so I sent out a kind of a prelude. Oh, before we do that, I did want to kind of just touch on a social contract real quick. So you guys have already gamed before under Dan, so you probably already have a whole lot of this um, agreed upon. Like I said in my post on G Plus, the only thing that I really don't condone is people being dicks to each other purposefully. Now, if you say something and you accidentally offend somebody else, that happens. I don't care about that. But if you go out of your way to be a dick to somebody else, then I'll probably contact you on the side and ask you not to do that. And then the other thing is one thing I have a real pet peeve of mine that I've booted people from games from in the past is people who want to turn a a group game like this into a PvP and start trying to fight other group members and start trying to steal from other group members and just basically cause trouble for no reason. If you're that bored, then you probably don't need to be in the game, and maybe you need to go play World of Warcraft or something. But um, that's the only other thing I really can't condone. Otherwise, I'm pretty easygoing. You can cuss all you want. I don't care. I'll be cussing frequently. Um, you can get as crude as you want to get. I'm not easily offended. Uh, I will be very crude at some point, and if I cross somebody's line, you need to let me know, because I will probably do so at some point. Um, don't know if I'll go as far as having floating fat women on hooks with anuses spurting fecal matter all over the place, but
Not everybody's Rob.
Hey, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
I was listening to that on my way to work this morning. I was like, oh, geez,
Uh-huh.
nice visual.
Yeah. I get to sit next to him in that game. So.
As long as there's a good reason for it.
Oh, there was really no good reason, but other than horror and nastiness.
I don't mind it as long as there's a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun. So anyway, that's really
Yeah.
it as far as social contract goes. If you guys have any other hard, fast rules that you want to throw out on the table right now, feel free to do so. If not, then we will just be cool to each other and move on. Rules to be used. So this was touched on in Google Plus, but I did want to go over that again just to make sure everybody understands what rules we are using for this game. And the main thing is I'm going for 99% of the rules are going to be the core rule book. That includes fortune rules. I want to have everybody use their own fortune for this game. I don't want to use the group fortune that we've used in the past.
Okay.
So individual fortune, and we're also going to use story complications, which I've already included into the email that I sent to each of you individually. So you each were to choose the story complication. Your choices were either the mad complication or the maimed complication. Both of those really fuck with your character significantly, but I do promise you, you will be compensated for the difficult start that I'm forcing you to begin this campaign with. It will even out, and you will come out ahead if you can just make it through this first session. Story complications, action, step. That comes from Forbidden Rules, and basically that step says that you can use a triggered action to move 1 yard. So that worked well when we did Dwayne's game, and I'm perfectly cool with it. So we can go ahead and continue that into this game. Insanity. I think we agreed that insanity can only be removed or reduced by actually going crazy, going mad, as the core rules outline in the core rulebook. And you can also mitigate insanity by taking a quirk. If you would prefer to take a quirk, that is also outlined in the core rulebook, and that's one way you can get around building up too much insanity. And finally, the last rule that we will use is from Battle Scars. We are going to allow you once per encounter, instead of taking the damage from a particular attack once per encounter, you can opt to take a Battle Scar in place of that damage. Now, once you decide that, you're committed to it. So if you choose a Battle Scar and you happen to choose a Battle Scar that murders you, then you are murderized. And there's no coming back from that. So is everybody good with those rules modifications?
Just out
Yes.
of curiosity, does the cure spell do anything for madness?
Cure spell will not cure madness. No.
Okay, well, not madness, but I meant the insanity.
Insanity.
It will
So
not
we're
cure
fine.
insanity.
Okay.
In fact, no magic will cure insanity. The only things that will reduce or cure insanity will be reducing your insanity by going temporarily insane, and then you can reduce your insanity by, I think it's 1d6 or something like that, if I remember.
D6 plus Bill mod, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, D6 plus will.
Or
Yep,
by
it
taking a
is.
quirk.
All right.
Okay.
So can I ask, does anybody else want to say whether or not they start with a higher insanity total based on taking their pre-stuff, or do you want to figure that out as we go along as quickly as people go insane?
Is anybody in any danger of going insane at this point?
I
I know that
Are we
Dan.
rounding up?
Well, if
That was
you're-
one question I had.
if
We're
you
rounding
pick-
up or rounding down?
Normally you round down in the
Yeah,
game.
everything in Shadow rounds down.
Round down.
Yeah.
Darn,
So
I
if
was
you're
hoping for more
mad,
insanity.
you're already at half, I believe. You're already at half your will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a kicker though, because I've got the Nagas start with a tradition. So I started with Soul, and every time you learn a Soul spell, it's harder for you to go insane. And so, although I'm starting at half of my will, it actually takes my will +1 for me to go insane. So
Cool.
maybe it'll help. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Now, when you pick maimed, let's see, how bad is that?
It's not horrible, but it's not great. If you choose maimed, it will affect one of three things. You have a choice of one of three.
Okay.
One of three things that you could choose from, and let me pull it up here real
Speed
quick.
-2, perception -4, or change it to 1d6 health.
Okay.
But you also have the will to live, which I think is pretty nice.
Mhm.
When you become incapacitated, you can use a triggered action to roll 1d6, and on a 6, you heal 1 damage. So, you got that going for you.
Okay. I was gonna go maimed for sure.
Yeah, the insanity one is Moment of Clarity is the bonus that you get, and it does.
Yeah,
It's
you
in
get
the chat
boon.
box.
You can use a boon, but if you fail, you get more insanity.
Yeah. So
But it does give you a boon on your actions, which is nice.
yeah, I'm gonna be a spellcaster, I believe, unless something weird happens, and they don't necessarily generate a lot of boons. So I want to see if
What
this
kind of
helps them or not.
spellcaster? Are you gonna go magician or the other one?
I think I'm gonna go adept, and I'm gonna be a fighty. Like I'm gonna take soul in battle,
Oh, okay.
and so I'm gonna cast spells that let me punch things in the actually let me bite things with my Naga fangs.
Mm.
Because it's an automatic. If it hits, if they fail a strength check, they get poisoned, which gives them a bane on everything.
Right.
So the poison doesn't do any damage. It just theoretically makes them insane. But none of these bad guys should be alive long enough to go insane. But it's just the fact. It's the fact that they get poisoned, and it's a way to hand out banes.
You
Right.
never know.
So we'll see if it works. He may die real quick.
Anything could happen, but I hope not. I really want this to go go the distance.
I got you.
Do you need us to tell you what we picked, or did?
Yeah, he needs either mad or maimed.
All right. Well, I didn't know if we were sending that. Well, I mean, obviously on a maimed, there you can look and tell. My character picked maimed
Okay.
and is missing a foot and took the -2 to speed.
I'm gonna lose an ear and take -4 to perception.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that.
I went mad and both my middle fingers were removed.
So yeah, both.
That's hilarious. And obviously, you offended the surgeon by flicking that middle finger at him once too often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm missing my left arm at the elbow, and I went mad because of it. So
Yeah, Dan
So
went
is
hardcore with his.
yeah.
So the insanity isn't part of the maimed, though. Is that correct? I want to make sure.
Nope.
No, not unless you go mad. If you pick mad, your insanity goes up. But if you don't, you'll
You
be
picked
But
main.
you don't have a major
All right,
problem.
cool. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't starting on the wrong number for that. Is all.
No, you're golden.
No, you're
All right,
good.
man.
No, but you just lose perception, speed, or health.
So I changed my perception on my character.
So, what's your madness, Steve?
Right now, 4 out of 9.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm
Yes.
6 out of 12, but I get a +1, so technically I'm 6 out of 13.
Oh, okay. So you can see me.
Yes, he can.
Yes,
And
I
I
can.
had another question. The Cambions are half demons, so does that mean I can see the fairy too, or are we going with I have more human blood, so I can't see the fairy?
Are you listed
Uh,
at? Are you listed
It says
as?
demons can see fairies,
If
and Cambion's supposed to be a half demon, so that's why I was wondering. That's a rule, I guess, for the DM.
you're
Jeez.
invisible to most creatures aside from other pixies, animals, demons, fairies, monsters, children, creatures with intelligence scores lower 7 or lower, and creatures 5 insanity or more.
all right, hey Steve, let's do this.
It's a shitty invisibility.
Yeah,
It
Steve,
really is.
roll a d6 on an even roll, then you can see him. On an odd roll, you can't.
4. So
All right.
And the only
I can
thing I
see
was going
him.
to throw out is that, and I don't have it in front of me, but in Cambion it might, if it says like some of the other ones say that you've got like the fairy resistances or whatever. If you have the same, I just haven't looked at Cambion in forever to see if it had anything to say that you were, if it was just flavor or if it was actual fact, but it doesn't really matter.
Because I have the immunities and the resistances of a demon, also the iron vulnerability of a demon, dark sight. So
Yeah, then I would say I would throw it. You rolled good anyway, but I'd say you could just. I would think that's logical.
Yeah,
Because of the
works for
vulnerability.
me. All right.
Can undead see you, Rob?
Do undead count as monsters?
No.
Now they count as undead. So
Yeah, undead's its own
You
classification.
did not mention undead.
Oh, I can't see you then.
Undead may qualify based on their intelligence, though.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm too high.
But I don't think a player undead.
my intelligence is too high. You have to have
Yeah.
intelligence 7 or lower to see.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I lose the trade at noon to 1, and midnight to 1, as well as dawn until the sun fully rises and dusk until the sun fully sets.
That'll be fun in space.
Unless this world has no period.
It has 48-hour days or something.
We're in Alaska.
Or it could have a day in an entire year. So
I don't know what you're talking about. I can see the guy all the time. I don't even know what the problem is.
you're
Yeah,
crazy.
same here. It's like, what do you guys?
You're-
What do you mean you can't see him? He's right
You are
there.
crazy.
He's right the fuck here.
It makes sense because you are mad, and
Oh,
there is nobody there. There is no floating creature.
All right, there is no spoon.
Yeah,
I'm interested in finding my foot. So
I'm sure the surgeon has it.
let's.
Probably wearing it.
Sure, he's got it for his club foot or something.
All right. Speaking of the surgeon, you all are unfortunately victims. You're victims not of the demon lord, however. You are victims of a creature or a race of creatures, I guess you could say, a type of creature that is known as a harvester. And at some point in your daily life, you were minding your own business, doing what you do, and suddenly a brilliant light appeared before you, and this wariness washed over you as these shadows emerged from the light, and next thing you know, you fall unconscious, only to awaken in another place, obviously in a underground dungeon of some sort. But then you come to find out that it is not your typical dungeon, and it is not a dungeon that is on the world that you left behind.
We're all
but
from
indeed,
Earth.
Pardon?
We're all from Earth then, and then the light got us, and now we're here.
No. Some
No.
of you may be from
Or
Earth,
not.
but some of you
No,
are not.
I am not from Earth.
So some of us from the other planet. Okay.
Yes, sir. And so you learn this because you guys are introduced to each other at various points during your stay because the surgeon likes to rotate his prisoners from cell to cell. So at one point, you each shared a cell. but then you were moved again, and you are basically moved on a daily basis, and you share cells not only with each other but with other prisoners. And throughout your stay, and you guys, I believe I asked you to roll a d6 to see how many weeks you have been languishing in this prison. So
We need to roll
who's
d6.
been here the longest?
I got a 2.
All right, James.
I got a 6. Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Steve had 2 weeks, 3 weeks for Robert, 6 weeks for James, 3 weeks for Dan. What about you, Mark?
I'm working on it. We're
Hit the roll button that I gave you, and then hit the D6 button.
yeah. There we go.
All right,
Perfect.
and 3 weeks for Delano. Is it Delano? Delano?
Delano, it doesn't matter.
Well, how are you going to pronounce it?
Delano.
All right, Delano it is. All right, Delano. Blyu, is it Blyu?
Blue.
Blue?
Blue.
Blue. All right, Delano, Blue, and where the other rolls go? Green Glow? Was that Robert's character, Green Glow?
Yes.
All right, Green Glow. Looks like the three of you were picked up at roughly the same time from your various homes and brought to this world. James, you've been languishing here the longest, or your character is on the tip of my tongue.
Vor, and
Yes.
then Vaughn.
Vorvan.
Vorvon.
Vorvon.
That's it. Vorvon.
All right. Vorvan, you've been languishing here the longest, and each of you have been kept in a cell, like I said, with a cellmate. You're basically shackled up to the wall, and for those of you that are not your typical humanoid and may have a tail, then your tail is also shackled to the wall. And those of you who may be diminutive and invisible to many creatures are also kept in a smaller cage within a cell. So Robert, Green Glow is actually kept in like a bird cage type thing that's made of iron, and then he or she is shackled with iron shackles to the iron cage. So you are currently visible to everything, simply because of your exposure to the iron of your shackles. It's also serving to keep you fairly weak, so as to not be able to use any of your natural abilities. In fact, all of you find that your natural abilities have been mitigated in some way, shape, or form. So, for example, Dan, Blue's fangs. You have this harness on your head. Kind of like a 16 candles type harness.
Nice. That's what I need.
And you got caps on your fangs, so that you're unable to utilize your venom.
Okay.
So you are all pretty fucked as far as for the last few weeks you've been prisonerized real good, and you have really, just kind of chatting with your cellmates, you've really kind of gotten the impression that nobody really escapes from this prison. The only way you get out is by dying, or by becoming one of the surgeon's pet projects. And according to the other prisoners, you would probably rather die than become one of the surgeon's pet projects. But the longer you stay in your cells, those of you who have more of a will to live than your average creature, you find yourselves more determined than the other people here to find a way out. You're just basically biding your time. So day by day, you watch the routine. The surgeon comes in and out, and he tends to like to visit with Green Glow for some reason. Green glow pretty much every time the surgeon appears. He comes and has a chat with you. He seems to be fascinated by the pixie, and he just comes and he basically talks at you. He really doesn't have anything. He doesn't really ask you anything. He just basically chit chats with you, and you just kind of have to sit there and take it because you're shackled in your captive audience, literally. But the surgeon comes in, says his piece, and leaves. The creepiness factor of the surgeon is way up there. He's an 11 on a 10-point scale, and every time he comes in to see any of you, you just get chills up your spine, and you just get this sinking feeling in your gut that this is just an unnatural, horrid creature. Now, the surgeon doesn't spend every day in the prison, but he tends to show up when he has clients that he has to operate on. So you always hear when he shows up, because otherwise it's pretty quiet in the prison. The only noises are coming from your other cellmates. There are sentries, however. The sentries you rarely ever see. You've heard mostly about the sentries from the other cellmates, but the way they're described is that they are these short, almost dwarf-like creatures. In fact, they look like somebody dressed them up to look like dwarves, but when you get to see them up close, which people rarely do, they're clearly not dwarves. In fact, they got like pasty beards on, and they always have their hoods drawn. That's why people call them hoods. But you never see them because they're always hidden in the shadows. And so the only time they ever come out is when the surgeon himself appears and has to carry off one of the prisoners. He always gets a couple of the hoods to come in, drug you up, and then drag you out to be taken to his surgery. So you know of those creatures, and then there's one other creature that you hear occasionally in the prison, and that is what the other prisoners call the lash crawlers. And these are a pet project of the surgeon, where he has created these little eyeball monsters. They're basically, fist-sized eyeballs that have these lashes underneath them, and they use their lashes to crawl around on. And they typically hang from the ceilings, and they spy on you guys for the hoods and for the surgeon. So they're basically the security system, the video system for this prison. You hardly ever see lash crawlers. They always stick up on the ceiling, and the ceilings are pretty much cast in shadows. So you hear them more often than you actually see them. Okay, so you guys have been in the prison for at least 3 weeks, some of you longer, and you're trying to plot your escape. Have any of you heard any useful rumors that you would like to share with the others?
I think so.
We trust each other greatly, I see.
Are we making these up, or is this something you sent us?
I did send you an email that had some rumors that you have picked up. So if you have read it and you want to share, that's great. If you've read it and you don't want to share, that's fine. And if you haven't read it, then that's fine too.
All I know is that we have to find my keys so that we can get in my spaceship to get out of here.
You have a spaceship, huh?
I do. It is an ether. Hold on, I got the name here. It's an ether craft.
Okay. Well, if you remember your rumors, or if you suddenly grow a little bit more trustworthy to each other, then you can feel free to share what you may have learned here. But basically, the bottom line is you guys are waiting for an opportunity to escape. Escape is difficult. You've only heard of a couple of people attempting to escape in the past, and that did not end well for those people. There is a watchdog that the surgeon has here somewhere in this prison, and the other prisoners call it the manipede. This is a creation of the surgeon, and basically the way it is described, it is the surgeon has taken the upper part of several humanoids and basically sewed them together into this humanoid centipede-like creature. And
Close. So close to the human centipede, but not quite.
yes, sir. And and added some pincer or some pointy claws to add to the horror. So the manipede is the watchdog, and whenever anybody escapes, the manipede is sent out after them and returned either dead or in pieces or missing pieces. And so that's one of the things that you have to be concerned about. The other thing is you heard that the front door to this place is locked, and there's only one key in the possession of the surgeon himself. And there is a magical ward that has been placed on the door. So you have to somehow bypass that. That's even if you can get to the front door. So that is the challenge. And then, of course, you are shackled, and you're barely fed, and you're barely given water. So you're in a weakened state as it is.
Are we in a big? Are we all in the same cell at the moment, or are we scattered and covered and smothered?
You are scattered. You are kept normally one or two to a cell, but you are currently in adjacent cells. So you are adjacent to one or more of each other at the time that this adventure opens, which is this morning. And this morning, sorry,
Who's in a cell with me?
who's in a cell with you?
Yes.
Actually, as of today, this morning, you are each in your own cell for some reason. You have not been given a cellmate on this particular day.
Okay.
So you are enjoying your own cell, and
I found my email, so I'll give everybody the information. My character is a teenager, so she's not going to have kept the secret.
okay.
The surgeon is a creature known as a harvester, a parasitic monster that steals proxy parts from other beings to replace its own. The surgeon tends to harvest from all over. What is that? Tartarus? Replacing
Tartarus.
Tartarus, yeah. Replacing worn parts with those from his stock of prisoners. Although all harvesters are capable of performing their own surgeries, the surgeon is said to use special techniques that grant his patients special qualities. They say the surgeon even has enhanced himself and has magical powers.
Makes sense.
I also found an electronic communication that I'd like to talk about. Sorry. A prisoner had told me about a strange indigenous race called the Tubbies that live in the Violet Hills. They hate the harvesters and may help escapees try to make it to the Violet Hills if we make it out. I also have heard that the plan was to go through the large iron doors and pick the lock.
Whose plan was this?
Somewhere, I'm not sure. Somewhere there is a supply room with food and water, and I have heard that the guy didn't make it and was nearly burned alive by magical wards that the surgeon had placed on the doors.
Right.
And,
So if we can get that food and water, get out that key, and find my keys to my ether ship, we can get off this rock.
Or we can fly to the hills, right?
Yeah.
And
I know it's tethered to a tower in here somewhere. They had to have kept it. They wouldn't have gotten rid of it.
All right, so you guys are kind of chatting amongst yourselves this morning, and that's interrupted by the telltale sign or sounds of the skittering of the lash creatures above you. That always kind of is a prelude to the surgeon's arrival. And sure enough, moments later, you hear the footfalls of the surgeon himself, that walking slowly as he does towards your section of the prison. So you guys have been conditioned at this point. When this happens, you start kind of breaking out into a little cold sweat, wondering if today is your day to go to surgery. And so let me see here. After his okay, you hear him stop before one of your cells, and you hear his distinctive voice say, "Secure them." The next thing you hear is the sound of a lever being pulled, and you know this sound quite well because every time he comes for a prisoner, that sound is made. And whenever that lever is pulled, the chains that are shackled to your arms and other body parts are drawn to the nearest wall, and you are basically pinned to the wall by your shackles and locked there. After the mechanism that pulls your chain and locks you into place is finished, one of your doors is unlocked. And let me see, there are 5 of you here today, so let me randomize this. 1d5. All right, number 3. So that would be Robert, Steve, Dan. You are the man.
Well, of course.
The surgeon comes to your cell and unlocks the door, and you are up against the wall, shackled. Your teeth are locked. Your head is up against the wall, so you're basically pinned. And he walks in, and he at that point he says, "And how are we today, my Naga friend?"
I have a cramp in my jaw. Can you do something about this thing in my face? It really, really sucks.
He's saying, "Sorry, I can't make you out. It's that thing in your face. Most likely. But it's good to see you in a feisty spirit today. Gets the
Just
blood
for
flowing.
you.
All the better for harvesting. My client wants a more exotic look, so she has asked for something a little more colorful than skin today. Your tail scales will look beautiful on her, I think. Well, as much as I enjoy our little chats, I must go and prepare my surgery.
Mustn't watch out. You don't know where my tail has been.
Mustn't keep my client waiting. Bad for business, you know. I will call for you shortly." And with that, he kind of backs up. He walks out. The door shuts behind him. The lever is pulled again, and your chains go loose. And you are all basically dropped to the floor, still shackled, of course, but you are not pinned to the wall any longer.
Being that I am missing a foot, is there any way, I think, looking at how I'm held, that I'm going to still be held tight and not be able to wiggle this leg out from this?
You know what? The shackle around your leg that has been maimed was not modified to accommodate the fact that you're missing a foot. So apparently his hoods aren't the brightest guards on the planet or on the moon. So yeah, you think you could probably, maybe with a little bit of sweat and some kind of other bodily fluids, you might be able to get that shackle over the stump.
Okay.
You want to give it a go?
I do, but I don't want to do it where I can easily be seen. So if I could work my way like over into a corner a little bit, or whatever room I have to move to get into less light so that I'm less noticeable before I try it, is something I'd like to accomplish if it's possible.
Sure thing. And you can easily wiggle your way into the corner that is on the wall that the door is on, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for you to be seen through the door window. In fact, I think it's okay if I reveal. Well, no, not yet. All right, so so you're going to try to wriggle out of your leg shackle. Why don't you give me an agility challenge roll with 1 bane?
Got it.
All right, very good. You are able to make that thing down your leg. You take a couple layers of skin off because it's pretty tight, but
Yep.
you are able to get it off and over your stump. And so
Okay.
now you have your leg free.
Okay. I assume that doesn't give me a whole lot of extra like distance that I can now move because it's not shackled.
It gives you the ability to move within your cell a little bit more freely. You can twist a little bit better because you're not. All fours are not shackled now. You're just held by 3. Now you still have to twist your arms basically,
Right.
but you can still kind of twist your arms and make an X out of your arm shackles in order to get a different different position within your cell.
All right. Are there any?
You're not sure how much use that is, but at least you got a little bit more a freer range of motion.
Can I attempt to do something? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
All right, no, I was just going to see if there was any debris in the cell that I thought I could. I know it would hurt, but I'm just trying to. I'm trying to see what I could stick in the stump and then, like, stab in the face.
Make a stump knife.
Yeah, like a stump shiv.
Okay. So you look around your cell. You haven't been in this cell for very long. And you just kind of woke up here this morning, and you're looking around studying this particular cell. Give me a perception check.
Okay. Let's see what I can give you. Any banes, boons?
No, straight up.
There, I missed it.
Okay, yeah, you are looking around your cell. You're not seeing anything that is really of any particular use. No stones. No hairpins. Nothing has been left behind.
Can I attempt to similarly try and free my left arm that is probably shackled up around here since I don't have the bottom half of it? To see if I can. All right. And you said that was agility with a bane. Is that what we're doing?
Yes, sir.
All right. There you go. I rolled a 1. That's not
excellent.
Good enough.
You did not get out of that.
All right. They like my scales. What can I say?
In fact, you're held even tighter now.
Yeah.
It's not a 0 or lower.
It was close.
I rolled a 6. It's not like I rolled a 1.
All right. Anybody else want to try anything?
I only have my middle fingers gone, so there's no way for me to move.
Yeah. And you say none of our powers work, right?
No. Your powers are being mitigated somehow in these cells.
Do I think if I smash this metal brace or this holding in my head, like if I just smash my head into the wall enough, I could knock it loose? Or have I tried that?
You've tried it, and you've come to the conclusion that if you continue, you're probably going to lose a fang in the process.
Okay.
I don't want to do that.
Do I know
your
through
people,
knowing my people, how long does it take to regrow a fang?
It would probably take about 3 weeks.
All right. I'm gonna. That's close.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Like 3 weeks of no fang or die. I'm going to attempt to knock this thing off of. I'm just going to keep banging. I mean, I'm half insane as it is, and I need to get to my ether ship, and so I need to get out of this thing at this point. They're going to start cutting on my scales, and I can't have that shit. So I'm going to start smashing my head against the wall, hooking a chain on it, trying to pull and pry, using whatever bits that I can to try and knock it loose.
All right, let's do this. Give me an agility challenge roll with 2 banes, and we're going to see if you how successful you are at knocking that harness off your head without knocking your tooth out.
All right, I'm going to click something just to read it. I'm not saying I'm going to use it yet. I just want to click it and see if I want it. Yep, it says challenge roll. All right. So I'm going to use Moment of Clarity and roll this with a boon so that I only have 1 bane.
All right.
And if I fail, I gain 2 points of insanity. I fail. 2 points of insanity.
Oh my God, you're awesome tonight. Excellent. Okay,
Are these shackles made of magic, or are they just normal shackles?
It really depends on the individual. So, for example, Robert's are custom made for him because of his fey nature. But most of the rest of you have basic normal iron shackles.
Okay. With my healer background, doctor profession thing, would I be able to figure out how to break my hand just in the right spot to not do any damage, but to slide under the shackle?
Sure. Let's get an intelligence challenge roll going, and you can add your boon for your doctorness.
Alrighty. 16 plus 5 plus 1.
So are you a 17-year-old girl doctor? Is that what I'm hearing?
16. Yeah.
I'm a 17-year-old snake man. We should get together.
Yeah. So
Wow.
you basically Baranora basically figures that she can get her hand. You don't have to break it. You basically have to
Just pop the thumb out of place type thing.
Yeah. And because you're missing a middle finger, it makes it a little easier to squeeze your hand tighter than normal once you get that thumb dislocated, and you should be able to get it through the shackle.
Okay. Need me to roll anything extra for that, or am I out?
I'm going to say you can just go ahead and do it. You're going to damage yourself, though, to the tune of 1 point.
Okay.
If I only had a ship.
And I'm sorry if I didn't hear this or wasn't paying attention, but which rooms, who is in the room that I'm in?
You're by
Nobody.
yourself.
You.
We're all solo.
Everybody's by themselves?
Yep.
All right.
You got it. All right.
So
Baranora, is that how you say it, Baranora?
Baranora.
Baranora. All right, Baranora. So do you do that? You dislocate your thumb and slip it through the shackle?
Yep.
Okay. Take a point of damage, and you have a free hand. That hurts like hell.
I'll go for the other one. Come on, man.
That's what I was about ready to do. I'm gonna pop the thumb back in place on the one, and I'm going to take the other, do the same thing with the other one.
I'm going to dislocate your other fingers.
It's making my hands hurt thinking about you doing this, but it sounds good.
Okay, you do the same thing. However, give me another intelligence intellect challenge roll with your boon. Actually, I'll give you 2 boons this time.
Okay. 15 plus 3 plus 1.
All right, that's good. The first time you took a point of damage, but you figured out you really didn't have to, bend your pinky quite that hard in order to get through the shackles. So on your next hand, you're able to get it out of the shackle without taking a point of damage.
Cool.
All right, so you have both hands free.
The legs are shackled too, right?
The legs are shackled around the ankles, yes.
What is it made out of?
Iron.
But is it like a key type thing, or like a little thing I can hammer out to get out from under it? Like, how old school are we talking the shackles?
Yeah, it is it's a type that has a bolt that you hammer through the hole. So it's a pin. It's not a key. So the only way to open it would be to get the pin out.
Now, the shackles I got out of my hand, does it look like I can reach them with the legs and try to just hammer it out? Use the other shackles, start trying to hammer out the pin.
Yes, you can. You can do that if you give me an agility challenge roll. You're going to have to contort yourself a little bit.
If she pulls this off, the Snake Man's really going to be attracted to her. Just saying.
Oh, all right. Barely. I got a 10.
All right, hey, that's good enough. You're able to contort yourself enough. Bring your leg up above your back behind your head, and you can definitely work on that pin with one of the shackles that you got loose.
All right. I'll be spending the time doing that.
Okay, so
One and then the other.
you're hammering away at that pin, trying to get it loose. Give me a strength challenge roll with 1 Bane.
All right. 14 minus 3, 11.
All right, that's good enough, but it takes you a while, and you're trying to keep the noise down so that you're not so it's not obvious to the guards what you're doing.
Can he try and time that when I'm banging my head, and so he's doing like the Shawshank where he's trying to time with the lightning and the thunder?
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so Steve, you manage, or Baranara gets her her leg free, one of her legs free. You gonna try the same trick on the other one?
Yep.
Okay. Now give me the strength challenge roll again with a what did I say? A Bane before, with 1 Bane. Yep. And as you're doing this, you're starting to notice kind of a rumbling. Like the ground, the whole cell is starting to rumble a little bit. You're not sure what that's about, but go ahead and give me that strength challenge roll.
Makes me want to work even harder. All right. 15 minus 5, 10.
Okay. Perfect. Takes you a couple of minutes, and as you are hammering away at that with your shackle, the rumbling gets harder and harder. I mean, it gets more and more noticeable, and the rest of you are noticing this too. There's kind of dust starting to come down off the ceiling. The whole cell is just kind of shaking a bit. It's almost like there is an earthquake that's getting ready to hit or something. But then all of a sudden, a brilliant flash of light, just as you pull that last shackle off your leg, Baranora, this brilliant light just floods the entire prison, and for a minute you guys are just blinded by the light. The light lasts for just a split second, and the rumbling gets incredibly violent after that light goes out. The whole place just starts rocking, and big chunks of the ceiling starts coming down. In fact, it gets so bad you think that this is it. You know, the prison's basically going to cave in, and you're gonna be crushed.
So it's an earthquake?
It is full-on earthquake happening, or moonquake, I should say.
Oh.
This lasts for a couple of minutes, and while this is going on,
I'm pulling at every chain I can in case a rock comes loose. I don't care if I have to drag chains with rock on the end of it with me. I'm trying to get out of this.
All right, so I want you to give me a strength challenge roll as you do that.
May I ask one question before we start any more rolls? Can we assume, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt or anything, but
you're good.
Can we assume that before the quake, we could all kind of hear ourselves struggling individually at trying to get out, so that since we're not in the sight of each other, we at least know that now's our chance, that kind of a thing? I mean, is that plausible?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Okay,
Victory is
so
mine.
all right, very good.
Got it.
You finally got those dice warmed up.
No kidding.
All right, so you are pulling away as the quake is hitting. There is clearly interference inside the wall where the chains are attached to whatever mechanism pulls them taut, and you manage to yank your other arm. You already have one arm free. You yank the other arm out. Now you still have the shackle around your wrist, and you have a length of chain that is attached to that, but it's the link is broken. Let's say you have 4 feet of chain
Perfect.
that's attached to your shackle, but you're still attached by your tail.
All right. I'm just gonna kind of lean down and just, if I got to bang my headgear against the pin in my tail, or if I can take the chain and wail onto it, whatever, I'm just going to be wailing on that. I don't care about sound, noise, anything. If there's a rock nearby, I'll use it. Or if there's a rebar, I'm going to smash this pin on my tail as much as I can.
Yes, this is the time to do it, because with the earthquake or the moonquake happening, there's all kinds of ruckus going on. So this is there's rocks all over the place. There's big chunks that have fallen from the ceiling. You can easily grab a big chunk of rock and start hammering away at that tail pin.
All right.
Same goes for the rest of you. You now have big chunks of rock that are just falling around you, and you can easily use those as for anything that you want to use. So, what are the rest of you doing?
Oh, I'll definitely try pulling once it's weakening the stone.
Yep, trying to pull free, break free any way that I can.
Okay.
I guess I'll try.
You are such a strong pixie, I'm sure.
This strength roll.
Yeah,
Strength
minus
challenge
one.
roll.
Is there any boons to this strength roll?
No, sadly not.
Just the bangs from being impaired because you're in iron.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I could have a bang.
About that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
As
sense.
bad as I
All right.
thought.
Sadly,
listen.
Green Glow can do nothing but struggle weakly against her bonds. But that's okay, because chaos ensues around you, and you see doors starting to bust off their hinges as the quake persists and gets even more violent. Outside your door, let me see whose door busts open.
I'm grabbing a rock as a weapon and I'm heading to my door to leave.
Yeah,
If
I'm at my door with a chain ready to flail somebody in the face.
If we succeeded in our roll, do we get free or no?
Say again, Robert or James.
If we got free, if we succeeded on our roll, are we freed or no?
If you succeeded on your strength roll, you manage to break the chain out of the wall.
No, okay.
But you have 4 shackles. If you have 4 limbs, you have 4 shackles, 1 to each limb. So you're still attached by 3 of them.
So I have to make 3 rolls or 3 more rolls, or?
Yes, 1 for each shackle if you want to take advantage of this earthquake while it's going.
Right.
I'm still stuck.
Baranora, as these folks are making their rolls, your door busts open as the wall buckles and big chunks of rock fall right outside your door. Your cell door swings open.
I peek around the corner, avoiding rocks, seeing if there's anybody around my door.
All right, you peek around the corner and you see one of those hood things detaching itself from the shadows, trying to avoid the falling of a nearby wall, but is unsuccessful in doing so. These are not the most dexterous creatures, and it gets crushed under the weight of several tons of boulders that fall from the ceiling and wall. As you watch this creature getting crushed, you notice its hood falls back, and instead of a head, it's got like a fishbowl for a head, and inside the fishbowl, it looks like it's got these weird eel-like creatures swimming around in this murky liquid. And this big boulder just smashes that fishbowl, and these eels just go spilling out across the floor, along with this murky liquid, as the body of this hood creature is crushed under these rocks.
It's a trap. Sorry.
I laugh as I look to see if it has weapons.
All right. So who managed to burst free from their bonds?
I did.
All right. So the vampire is loose. And by the way, uh, James, your character Vorvon,
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of unique amongst the prisoners, in that you're a vampire, and your dietary needs are different than those
Mm-hmm.
of the other prisoners. So
I think it
the
was.
surgeon basically made the other prisoners feed you.
Mm.
Um, to sustain you, but you were only allowed to feed to a certain point before the other prisoners were pulled away from you. So everybody kind of has a weird, uh, kind of a weird feeling about the that Vorvon guy.
Fine.
Now you're still a prisoner like everybody else, and you know you've chatted with the other prisoners, so your personality has become known to them. So they
Mm-hmm.
got to know you somewhat, but you still give everybody the creeps because, quite frankly, they're food to you.
Yeah. Well, I'm a frightening creature. So makes
There
sense.
you go. All
I am
right.
frightening.
So after about 2 minutes of this moonquake happening, um, it starts to subside, and as it subsides, the dust starts to settle around you, and you can tell that the prison has been damaged severely. I am now going to move you over to the map page, and we will get started on the actual game map. Go ahead and go to the upper part of the map, and most of you or all of you should be on the upper left hand corner. Actually, let me just ping you there.
That'll be faster.
Okay. Do you see your characters? I want to make
I
sure
think
I got
so.
the dynamic lighting settings correct. Those of you that don't have dark vision, you may be in darkness simply because your cells are not lit.
Hey, Nelson, remind me to email you a little tiny trinket for having no sight but still being able to see just a little bit. Not now. Next week, during the week, I'll tell you about it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let's see. James should have sight.
Yeah, I do.
Um,
As long as our
Blue
powers are
should
working.
not be able to see anything. Baranora, you can see.
Yep.
Delano is in complete darkness.
Yep.
And Robert should be able to see a little bit. And do we have a new player? I think we do. It looks like we have a Jeremy that has joined us. Jeremy, can you hear me?
He's got his mute on.
And he looks way too serious for this group.
He doesn't look like he's moving.
No, I think he froze.
Oh,
Let
he's
me-
doing a deal.
Dan, that dude looks like Eric.
He does, doesn't he? That's funny.
Holy crap.
I think his camera's frozen.
Yeah, it is. I can tell.
Okay, well, we'll get Jeremy as soon as gets his he's saying it's a little laggy for him.
No.
That's worse than Frozen.
There's no help from that on my end, unfortunately. Okay, Jeremy, well, can you hear us at least?
I don't think he can.
It's on and off.
You may need to just try to read.
Yeah, if he goes to, well, it depends if he's using the audio video in Roll20 and Google Hangouts. He needs to shut down the Roll20 stuff so that it's not doubling up, because that'll really hog up the resources.
It doesn't look like he's doing that.
All right. Other than that, I would just have him try the reconnect button under settings. But we should all not talk to him at one time. So I'm going to grab a quick water. I will be right back.
Yeah, actually, why don't we take 5 while Jeremy tries to get on? This is a good time for a piss break. So we'll be back in about 5.
Well, he's moving a lot more without freezing, so that's a start. You're still muted, though, Jeremy.
Jeremy, can you hear me all right?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, I heard you.
Yes, I hear you.
And then he froze.
All right, welcome aboard, Jeremy.
Okay.
All right, so sounds like you have a bit of a choppy audio as well. So if that doesn't clear up, you might want to go ahead and use the chat feature in Roll20 to communicate, or at least to supplement your communication. Am I coming through your audio okay? Not choppy? Jeremy, did we lose you? I think we may have lost him. He may need to back out of...
I turn...
He may need to back out of Hangouts and try to log back in.
Yeah.
Is there a low bandwidth option in Hangouts? Does anybody know? I know that's
I
a thing.
don't see anything.
Yeah, there is a limit bandwidth option. If he hits the 4 bars, that's the adjust bandwidth usage.
Oh yeah, there it is.
And if he selects the disable HD, that might help. And then just adjust the HD bar down. Still not working.
A little choppy. But that is also...
You might want to disable video altogether, see if that helps. Having you audio is better than nothing.
A better connection.
I have returned.
Welcome back. We're still trying to get Jeremy on board here.
No problem.